Hi, this is Steve. In this video we'll take a look at some handling options for a class course I set up, and we'll also look at some handling options for two other sequences you can run on the same course setup. Okay, in this first handling, it turns out the opening really worked best with a lead out and then a jump wrap over the second jump. So you can see here, and then it's really just a straight line. You need to just decelerate a little, just make sure your dog gets that tunnel. Then it's just around the horn. Now you talk to him like crazy in the chute, and I found the rear cross was best. Then step through the gap. It's a jump wrap, a throttle jump wrap with just a post turn to make the turn around. And then you got to get ahead enough to be able to push to the right side of the tunnel, and then you're straight around for the finish. Just another note on the handling of that chute. The real key is decelerating and talking to your dog while they're still in the chute, so they can hear your footfalls and hear your voice, since it's not soundproof. And so Meek was actually turning towards me as he exited the chute, which made it a lot easier to get the rear cross. Now, on the second way to handle this sequence, which is a lot of people chose to do, was really to do a lot of people did a shoulder pull all the way around and pulled your dog in. I didn't quite need to do that. But at this time you need to get ahead to push over the bar. Oops, and you can see Steve pushed him right when he was over the bar. So let's try that again, see if Steve can get it right. That's a little better. And I didn't go for the front cross after the chute. I think that's just a little too dangerous. It's hard to get ahead with a really fast dog. And then I actually handled this, I believe, yeah, the rest of this the same way as before. You could actually handle that teeter on the opposite side, just as a fun thing to try. So let's take a look at the opening 4 obstacles of sequence 2. It's basically a pinwheel of 1, 2, 3. You choose which way to turn over jump 3 to get to the teeter. So the first way I find is a little uninspiring. It's pretty much just treat the pinwheel with as a shoulder pull over the first 2, 3 jumps, and then a wrap, signal a wrap on the last jump on the way to the teeter. And here's another way to handle that same opening, which is really a post turn with then a rear cross over the last jump. You can see the handler just stands around, and Meeker was really wondering, where's he going, what's he doing? So let's try it again, see if I can give him a little better cues. I'm talking to him more, turned a little more sharply, and then step forward before giving the rear cross, and that looked a little better. Okay, let's see ways I'm more likely to handle this. So we'll run out, signal the turn, and then it's a backy up, you jump wrap, and drive forward to the teeter. You see Meeker read that a lot better and really move faster. On this last approach, I'll actually send Meeker out, kick him out, and then treat it more, as people call, serpentine, ending with a wrap on the end. So it's a scoop, is another way to call the handling of that last jump. Looking at obstacles 10 through 14 on the second sequence, it's really a pinwheel with a 180 back on the end. I'm handling it all here as a shoulder pull. You can see Meeker goes a little wide in there, but he read the continuous shoulder pulling very well. One downside of the shoulder pull is it cues extension. So here I'll just try to run the outside a little bit here. It gives me a little more motion, and I think it caused Meeker to dig in and go a little faster on that final turn. All right, let's look at the opening of sequence 3. It opens with one jump into a serpentine, where the middle jump in the serpentine is angled back from how you'd normally see it. So the dog has to kind of go around it a little bit. Here's the all rear cross version, which worked out all right, but then you need a big pull to stay off of the weaves. Here's another not too inspiring approach. It's a shoulder pull, rear cross to front cross. There's the rear cross to the front cross. And it works, but you can see Meeker isn't too enthusiastic. Here's my default handling for this, which is to run ahead, cue the cross, drive in, and then cue the last jump and drive towards the teeter. Here's the lead out version of that same handling, since you can always replace that first cross with a lateral lead out or regular lead out. Stand out there, get the cross, so you don't have to be as fast to handle it that way. Here's the middle of the third sequence. Trying the all rear cross version of the pull through and send him over the wrong jump, so that wasn't too well cued. So we'll reset up here and try it again. Try to give you all the takes whether I succeed or not, so you can see what can go wrong there. I'm really waiting. I get the rear cross pull through and then drive forward for the rear cross. Not my favorite way of handling it. Here's my most likely handling. So I'm going to drive in, cue the cross, then cue the jump wrap, and then just shoulder pull around to the dog walk. This other one, I'm going to treat it more like a serpentine, send him out, cue the wrap, drive through the gap, and then pull around to the dog walk. And lastly, I'll repeat that same handling. I'll send him over, call him back with the wrap, and then throw another wrap on the end to get that a little tighter and to keep moving to avoid driving long over the jump. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you tried running these 3 different sequences, and let me know how you did. Thank you.